Oh, this should be great. Hi, everybody. If you landed here, you landed on Let's Talk News, and I'm your host, Leticia Remauro. And boy, we're in trouble today. Why? Because I just clicked on my computer and it didn't update. And for anybody that knows, when your computer decides to do an update, you can't stop it. And so I couldn't stop it. And so now I'm on my phone and I can't see a blessed thing. And I'm going to try and get into my computer, but you all are going to have to come along with me while we do this crazy, crazy thing. So say something. Let's see. New comments. Oh, my mother's here. Hello, Mom. Show on stage. Oh, this is going to be fun. Good to see you, Mom. Anybody else out there? Let me know. And we're going to talk about immigration today, especially if I could ever get my computer to work. We're going to talk about immigration. We're going to talk about, I don't know how to get this off now. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about walls. We're going to talk about, this is crazy. I mean, when I tell you my computer is like frozen, it's frozen. Yeah, we're going to talk about the fact that 53 million people have entered our country, and now the workforce is, do you know that the workforce is 19% foreign born in America? Kind of crazy stuff. Hi, Francine. Good to have you. Let's see. Oh, I got to do it that way. The melting pot has turned into the melting plot. Yeah, really, it has. It's crazy. Hi, Angela, Ricka. How are you? Good to have you. All right. Oh, wait. Give me a second here. I cannot believe that I cannot get this to work. Wait, I might have something here. Hold on a second. Because I'm not sure that I can even like show you videos and stuff if I'm not, you know, on my computer. But yeah. Oh, hi, JA. Good to have you. All right. If I don't get to everybody, I'm going to take care of that in a minute. Oh, look. Okay. Now I don't sign out of this. Okay. Hi. Oh, that's so much better. Holy shit. That was just crazy stuff. Talk about a panic. That was a panic. Okay. Who did I miss? Got my mom, Gloria. How are you, Gloria? Good to have you. Francine, we said hello to already, and Angela, and J.A., and Kevin. And let's see, Cyber Snakeness. Hello, how are you? Good to have you. So let's just pull up some stats. This is from the Center of Immigration Studies. Okay. So foreign-born number and share of U.S. population at all-time high in January 2025. The record increase last 4 years driven primarily by illegal migrants. The government's January 2025 current population survey shows the foreign-born of immigrant population, legal and illegal together, hit 53.3 million and 15.6% of the total U.S. population in January 2025. So it's 15.6%, both new record highs. The January CPS is the first government survey to be adjusted to better reflect the recent surge in illegal immigrants. Unlike border statistics, the CPS measures the number of immigrants in the country, which is what actually determines their impact on society, without adjusting for for population since President Biden took office in January 2021. Okay, so 15.8, almost 16% of our country now are immigrants, both legal and illegal. That's something else. And let's see, this one, I think that it's something like 15 million. Well, it was 8 million that we know of through the Biden administration came in through that refugee status stuff. But it's more like 13 to 15, they said, with gotaways. So it's kind of crazy stuff what has happened in such a short period of time. Hi, Colleen. Good to have you with us. Very small from my computer. Okay, are we better now? I don't know. I hope we're better. And I'm sorry. Hello, Hevril Wyam. I don't know what to call you. What a beautiful girl. So what do you think? I mean, do you think that we're all being taken for a ride here? Do you think that the Biden administration knew exactly what they were doing by letting all these people in? Hello, happy Monday to you, Andrew Dorman. I sure do, because we still have people out there whining and carrying on, like Tim Kaine, who's, we talked about it last night a little bit, wanting to bring Trump up on as war crimes because of him bombing these drug boats out of Venezuela. It just absolutely insane for me that. Oh, wait a minute! I got the wrong thing. Hold on a second. That's much better, I think. It's insane for me to think that these people are actually protecting drug dealers. And they're doing it with a straight face. But we know Kaine would, right? Because he went down and he had margaritas, with the Maryland dad. So I don't know. 67. I'm not sure what that is referring to. Hevril? But, if you want to explain, we'd love to have some more information from you. Okay, so let's just talk about crime statistics. All right. So Border Patrol arrests. Since the start of fiscal year 2021, Border Patrol has arrested 43,674 illegal aliens with criminal backgrounds. Now, that's since the start of 2021. And you know that the majority of that is happening now under Trump. ICE arrests in FY 2023 alone. Okay, so this was still under Biden. ICE arrested 1,713 individuals for homicide, 1,655 for kidnapping, 4,390 for sexual assault, 33,209 for assault, 3,097 for robbery, 6,964 for burglary, and 7,520 for weapons offenses. That's under Biden. So you know damn well that if that's how many they arrested, there were probably 10 times more that they could have arrested, because that wasn't their goal. Their goal was not to show that the migrants that they led into this country, were doing up to no good. The ICE docket, as of July 2024, there were over 425,000 non-citizen on ICE's non-detained docket with criminal convictions, and over 220,000 with pending charges. So this is what's happening. All right. We have 330 million people in the United States. It's now more since the migrants came in, so it's probably closer to 350, maybe 360. And these are the numbers in just 2024. So 645,000 with pending charges. And that's only because Trump was coming in and Biden was stepping up the game. CPB convictions in 2021, CPB reported that 825 individuals were convicted of burglary, robbery, larceny, or theft, and 2,138 were convicted of illegal drug possessions or trafficking. So now look at the difference in that number, right? So in 21, when Biden was just coming in, Trump had just exited, so we're still on the Trump policies. 825 individuals were convicted of burglary, robbery, blah, 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 blah. In 2023, we have, it's over 70,000 individuals that were, why can't I get out of here? That were convicted or accused of nefarious stuff. we got a real problem here, real problem in this country, and we really are going to have to address it, because if we don't address it, we're gonna. Well, we're all going to be sorry. I'm going to show you something in a minute. I have to now regain it because my computer's shut. They always protect criminals. But why? How does it make sense for them to protect criminals? I'm trying to figure that out. Approximately 1 million illegals have self-deported since mid-2025. Yeah. So, you know that the ones that self-deported were not the criminals, right? You know that, because it's like us, right? It's like us schmucks that pay our taxes and pay our bills and all that stuff. So the ones that self-deported were probably hardworking individuals who we would have wanted to stay here. Came here for whatever reason, overstayed, whatever. But it's the scum that are here because we have the money. So it's for them to roll the dice and try and make money here is a big deal. And we're going to see that they actually do make money. Hello, Ramon. How are you? Hello, Susan. Good to have you with us tonight. Holy La Grega, my neighbor in Longs. How are you, dear? Hi, Lucille. Good to have you. I got your Christmas card. Did I tell you that yesterday? I think I did. I haven't sent mine yet. You're always right on time. 6-7 means so ambiguous. Oh, okay. So I guess that's how she is. 6-7. Okay. 24 days left till Christmas. Yes, I know. Okay. Let's see. Oh, we have so many. Oh, how did I miss all that? Okay. They delivered this stuff in a big bunch. Dems here are crying because Irina's law went into effect and they can't afford to house all the criminals they now need to prosecute. But eventually the incarcerated should decrease, because if you start locking people up, it will be a deterrent like it used to be. From your mouth to God's ears. Well, we saw that the numbers in 2021 were much lower than they were in 2023 because Trump had the border under control and he was locking up people who were doing bad stuff. That's between what ICE deported and self-deportation, that's only about 11% of the total here in this country. You're right, because it's 53 million, right? I knew I went off topic. Drug boats reminded me how the left cheer-led for criminals. Yeah, well, that's the whole thing, is that, and they are criminals. And, we're going to talk a little bit about Minnesota and the Somalis and how much money they've taken the American taxpayer for. Because the globalists need us to self-implode so they can take over and destroy. Safety is instrumental. Yeah. Well, they that's how they control us, right? That's exactly how they control us. So the whole thing about Biden letting all these illegals in, are not-for-profits, are making billions of dollars off of the border crisis, right? Ty, I got to call you back, honey, because I'm on my show. You want to say hello to everybody? Okay, bye. Sorry, the grandson. So isn't it interesting that the nonprofits are making billions off of the border crisis? This was 2024, okay? And they figured it out that all the not-for-profits were making all this money off of the border crisis. But what we find out now, and that's because of Doge, is that they're making money and then they're sending it to Somalia and they're funding terrorism with it. So we played some clips a couple of weeks ago about Minnesota and what was going on there with the autism. And then there was food stamps and food insecurity. And now, well, I'm going to let you watch for yourself this clip. This ABC5 actual reporter and news investigator, he uncovered a lot of things, a lot. Watch.
This one centers around a well-known Somali nonprofit. The state has awarded millions of dollars in grants. When investigative reporter Ryan Ray started tracking your money, he made an interesting discovery.
Here we go again, guys. We uncovered state money was sent to a group even after a board member was charged with fraud. And the Department of Human Services still did not stop the flow of your hard-earned money. It was once a darling nonprofit. winning awards and making headlines, all in the name of keeping Somali kids on the right path.
My name is Mohammed, Executive Director of Kajog.
But this summer, Kajog's online presence vanished. I could not find them anywhere. Their office at the Griggs Midway building in St. Paul?
It's dark, so.
It's a similar story at their second office a mile away, which comes with its own doorbell.
So I just talked to a guy here who says Kajug does have an office here, but he's only seen them once or twice this year.
Other addresses listed on their website.
Do you know what happened to him?
All appear to be dead ends. But then I found this criminal complaint from 2023, and it all starts to make sense. It was one of the biggest Medicaid fraud cases at the time. A group of men accused of stealing more than $9 million from the state's personal care assistance program. Among the defendants, Ali Elmi, the chair of the board at Kajog. And look at all the grant money I found the state kept sending Kajog after its chair was charged with fraud. The Department of Human Services sent the most, more than $600,000. At last check, the Secretary of State shows Kajog is still active and in good standing. We found they have raked in nearly $3 million in public money since 2020, despite these repeated warnings from the Attorney General over incomplete financial documents. Correspondence we obtained show Kajog failed to register as a charity, a violation of state law.
So, even after it was found that they were screwing around and had problems, they still got money. So how does that happen? How does that happen unless the governor is complicit? How does that happen? You know, when you have an inspector general, an attorney general, you're supposed to have audits of these organizations. But as we saw with the free press, and we knew it, these nonprofits were making money hand over fist with these immigrant populations. And we find out now that that money went to different countries to fund terrorism. And there's nobody's asking any questions. Who's going to pay for this? 80,000 Somalis in Minneapolis. Okay, and it seems that Walls and the AG and the Inspector General are terrified of this group of people. Why? Why are Democrats willing to protect criminals and illegal migrants over Americans? Why? Even if, you know, their goal was to destroy America, they would still want the American worker to, you know, I guess perform, right? Because if this is supposed to be a globalist society, if that's what they're looking for, wouldn't they want Americans to help them, right? Get their businesses off the ground. I mean, it can't be because they want to keep everybody poor, right? It can be because they want to reset the wages so that they make more money. Or it could be that they want a socialist society, as Mamdani says. Hello, Professor. Good to have you. De Blasio's wife got away with $1 billion. Oh, she's not the only one. And I'm sure the Walls went, well, listen, I'm not going to guess or tell you that I think. I'm going to show you what lawmakers and whistleblowers are saying. Watch.
Live from Nashville is House Speaker Mike Johnson alongside Tennessee congressional GOP candidate Matt Van Epps. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us here today. Speaker, I'd love to start with you. What do you think about this pause of the Afghan visas? And is it something that should only really be the beginning? There are increasing calls of revisiting immigration, revisiting this concept of assimilation, what we can absorb, and whether or not we need something like what happened in 1924.
Will, I agree 100%. These are serious times. They require serious policy to address these real issues. The president and the vice president, by the way, JD was right way back then. They need to re-examine those who have been allowed in. The Biden administration completely bungled this in every way. They opened the border wide, as we know. As many as 20 million illegal aliens came across the border in those 4 years. And then we allowed in these other people who obviously were not properly vetted. So we're glad that there was an election that has real consequences. We're glad this administration is dialed in, and I can tell you the Congress is as well. We're in the process right now of negotiating the National Defense Authorization Act, and we're looking at that very actively to see what role the legislative branch needs to play in this as well.
Yeah, we hope there is a role for the legislative branch. It's necessary because these stories are all too often, whether or not it's Somalis in Minneapolis or it's these Afghan nationals or the mass illegal immigration across this country. This is more than a country can bear, quite honestly, culturally, for cohesion.
So is it time to stop? Is it time to get our arms around what already came into this country and go back to the 1920s, slow down immigration and deal with what we have here? You know, the difference in the 20s was that people didn't come into this country and the government paid for them to live or to eat or any of that. They had to have a sponsor. And if they didn't have a sponsor, they wound up in the poorhouse. But now these refugees come over and they get checks and they get housing and they get treated better than our own veterans. It's really, I think it's a problem. All about the power they can create from nothing to project upon the rest of us. Thank you, 17th Amendment. Well, that's well said. I worked in not-for-profits for over 20 years. New York does a little better with regard to physical space audits, but audits are sporadic and limited. I know they did not even look at some sections of our state consolidated fiscal reports. I know that that's true. That happens even in the government agencies, right, Colleen? And it seems, though, that the places with the most fraud are the places with the most migrants, recent migrants, California, Florida, Texas. It's very interesting that there's so much nonprofit fraud in these areas. So the question is, did they pick Tim Walz to run with Kamala Harris to continue what Biden was doing and making the nonprofits rich? And who was getting the kickback and who was getting the money? I mean, you got to connect the dots here. It's not an accident that Walz was turning a blind eye and is turning a blind eye to the fraud in his state. It's not an accident that Obama took in the Somalia refugees in the first place. None of this is an accident. I don't believe in accidents anymore, I've got to tell you. I used to think that, coincidences. Now I don't. Now I believe that everything is connected. 17th Amendment usurps states' rights and interests. Well, this government has grown and grown and grown, and we see when it grows, it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing but take more of the people's money. Too much money wasted across NFPs, all doing the same missions without efficiency or results. Results is the key. Government doesn't have to show any results to the people. Supposedly, the elections will decide whether or not you're doing a good job. But we have such a system that, especially under Trump, that it seems that when a president wins, he gets the House and the Senate, and then in midterms they flip. And that's been what's been going on a lot lately. And why is that? Because there's so much negativity out there. The last cooperation was Gingrich and Clinton, really. But we don't cooperate anymore. So it's about, power. It's about what we could do to usurp power. And at the end of the day, I've got to believe that it's because of money. Somebody's getting rich. Who is? Shouldn't Tampon Tim be sweating? He should be, I think. But I don't know. can anything move that fast? We've got so many things going on. Trump, listen, if trends hold, Trump only has 2 years to accomplish everything, and 1 year has already passed, and they have been dragging him on in every area. Now we're going to war crime this. I mean, please, this is crazy. Thank God he doesn't give a shit. But I hope that the people open their eyes, and we're going to see with Van Epps tomorrow. I don't know if any of you are making calls. It's just amazing to me how the news media has lifted up this Afton Ben, who nobody knew, and that there's a possibility that Van Epps could lose. I just don't see how that is. In Ruby Red, Tennessee, they either preparing immigrant armies with all the males or just destroying nationalism and love of America. I believe that the whole idea of this is, these males have been sent here for a purpose, and it's to have people on the inside and to undermine from within. I don't think this Lackawanna guy, this wasn't an accident. They're saying he was radicalized here. I don't agree. I think we taught him. We believed he was, we were working together. We believed that he wasn't a spook on the other side, but I believe he was absolutely a spy for the Taliban. And, or either that, or he's getting paid really, really well now by the Taliban to feed them information and to do what he's doing. I do not, believe this PTSD bullshit. I do not believe any of that. I just think that, we have, for the last 4 years, just opened up the floodgates, and maybe the ulterior motive was the not-for-profits making money. Maybe that was the ulterior motives, along with making sure that they get more congressional seats, making sure that they will have now, for the census, enough people to add Democrats in so that we can't elect another Republican president. I believe that the Dems play a long game. We never do. We, look at amongst our ranks, right? The Democrats never break ranks. Never. It took forever, 43 days, for other than Fetterman to break ranks with the government closed down with a bill or a CR that had been passed a dozen times before, and even under Biden. But the Republicans break ranks. We have Rand Paul and the other, Yahoo, going against Trump right now about stopping drugs from coming into this country. It's crazy. Really hoping that Afton girl does not win tomorrow in Tennessee. I'm hoping so too. I just don't know if we're going to, I pray. That's all I can say is I pray. All right. I want to play a clip for you that I couldn't download because I'm going to share the screen because my computer was not working well. Let's see if I could do it. Ronald Reagan, watch.
And there is nothing so precious and irreplaceable as America's freedom. In a speech I gave 25 years ago, I told a story that I think bears repeating. Two friends of mine were talking to a refugee from communist Cuba. He had escaped from Castro. And as he told his story of his horrible experiences, one of my friends turned to the other and said, "We don't know how lucky we are." And the Cuban stopped and said, "How lucky you are. I had someplace to escape to." Well, no, America's freedom does not belong to just one nation. We're custodians of freedom for the world. In Philadelphia 2 centuries ago, James Allen wrote in his diary that if we fail, liberty no longer continues an inhabitant of this globe. Well, we didn't fail, and still we must not fail. For freedom is not the property of one generation. It's the obligation of this and every generation. It's our duty to protect it and expand it and pass it undiminished to those still unborn. Now, tomorrow is a special day for me. I'm going to receive my gold watch. And since this is the last speech that I will give as president, I think it's fitting to leave one final thought, an observation about a country which I love. It was stated best in a letter I received not long ago. A man wrote me and said, "You can go to live in France, but you cannot become a Frenchman. You can go to live in Germany or Turkey or Japan, but you cannot become a German, a Turk, or Japanese. But anyone from any corner of the earth can come to live in America and become an American." Yes, the torch of Lady Liberty symbolizes our freedom and represents our heritage, the compact with our parents, our grandparents, and our ancestors. It is that lady who gives us our great and special place in the world. For it's the great life force of each generation of new Americans that guarantees that America's triumph shall continue unsurpassed into the next century and beyond. Other countries may seek to compete with us, but in one vital area, as a beacon of freedom and opportunity that draws the people of the world, no country on earth comes close.
Oh, what happened? Hold on a second. What did I do? Okay, well, I don't have anything more to say. I'm going to let the great Ronald Reagan take us out. Tomorrow, I will see you again at 8 o'clock. I want to thank you all for being here. And, America is a fantastic country, and she deserves for us to fight for her. And more of us need to get together to do that. Well, we'll all get together tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Okay. Hold on a second. We have John Cooper who's joining us. Rolling Stone did a factual article on the National Guard shooter. He was having a mental health crisis. Oh, you know what? Fuck you, John Cooper. You know what? I am not going with PTSD and mental health crisis. That does not give you a reason to come to the country that saved you and kill Americans. So go screw yourself. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.